indoor finals champion.
Chang Hai-jin off to a good start with 2 10s. There's one from Miss Wee. Real important here to come out, get sighted in quickly. What I mean by that, they do use a sight aperture to aim with.
10, 10, 10.
When you go from one lighting to another, it can really change your point of impact. Chang Hai-jin, no issues there. She's got it dialed right from the get-go.
10.
That arrow does score a 10. Just caught the line. That's all you've got to do is just touch the line.
Now, Steve, the majority of time archers shoot either alone in practice or they shoot matches in a room full of other archers. But here in center stage in Las Vegas, this is an entirely different atmosphere, isn't it?
Right. We've got a few thousand people up behind you in a great arena here, South Point Casino. Get out to a good score and put pressure on them.
Wow.
Which Miss Wee is doing right here. 2 perfect shots right in the 10 ring.
Yeah, for sure. If it went to a one arrow shoot off closest to the center, that would have won it.
9.
See, and that was a long shot by Miss Chang. If you watch their technique, their timing is very critical to how they shoot. So it's typically about 1 to 2 seconds at full draw, just like you saw there. On Chang Hai-jin's last arrow, she held a little bit longer than normal, maybe double or even triple her typical duration. See, that's a typical shot just off still. So now we're even, 2 points apiece.
Chang Hai-jin with a nice smile to her teammate Wee Ne-yeon. It looks like at this moment that we're going to have 2 2-point split, 2 set points apiece. Down at the target, we do have officials that will confirm the score, and occasionally in archery you're going to have a bit of an overturn compared to what we see with our binoculars or our spotting scopes down here.
Right, we've got a great TV crew going today, giving us a real good look at the targets, and those ones pretty darn clear. Wee Ne-yeon with 3 perfect arrows, and Chang had the 2 that were just off. So, like I said, this is a set system, you know, you just move on at 2 to 2. Later on, we'll see some cumulative scoring matches that could mean a whole lot more when you drop 2 to your competitor's none.
So this is our first match of 4 for the evening here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. It's the Indoor Archery World Series Finals in Las Vegas. We have Recurve women's followed by Recurve men, and then we're going to have some compound competition coming at you a little later on in the broadcast.
So you see Miss Chang, she hit a little bit left. She's been consistently left. She reached up, moved her sight, help her get sighted in well. And we are back to original shooting order now that they are tied and scored.
Now, Steve, let's talk about the recurve bow, because here you're holding, we talk about holding weight in archery. What is that?
All right, so as you see it right there, Chang is probably holding somewhere around 40 pounds on the finger. There's a 9 out to the left. That seems to be her miss right now. So typically the top level women's archers shoot anywhere from about a 38 to 42 pound draw weight. Top level recurve men, they'll be anywhere from about 45 to say 54. So there's a little bit of variance there, and just shooter preference or overall strength. But with a recurve bow, there's no mechanical advantage helping you when you achieve full draw. So they've got to pull through it. You'll see. We'll get to the clicker a little later. We'll explain that. We got some awesome shooting going by Wee Ne-yeon.
So initially in the first set of scoring, in the first ends, it was Chang Hai-jin who came out swinging. 10-10-10 in her first, but since then it's been all Wee Ne-yeon.
Yeah, Wee Ne-yeon missed her first arrow and that was it. She has gone 8 for 8 since.
You can see the face, and you can see the adjustment on the sight that Steve was talking about just moments ago. And Steve, looking at the release, the very typical Korean style of the way to finish. Really, how important is it to follow through your shot?
Right, the Korean method, you see that big, heavy roll forward of the bow, right? That's their follow through. When you're looking to execute a good shot, you're always looking to push towards the target. So you want your bow arm, the arm that's holding the bow, driving the bow towards the target. And part of that follow through is going to help you achieve a better group left or right. So bad follow through will you're not finishing the shot. So it's easy for any sort of left or right error to be magnified when you don't have good follow through.
Same thing in all sports, whether you have a good jump shot in basketball or a good follow through with a bat in baseball. So it's 4-2 set points. 1st to 6 wins it.
So Chang Hai-jin has to win or tie this set. She cannot. If Wee Ne-yeon wins this set, it's a done deal.
shooting for gold in the Indoor Archery World Series Finals here in Las Vegas, Nevada. A culmination of 6 total events starting in Macau, People's Republic of China. We were in Luxembourg, Italy, Australia, France, and now in the U.S. And a good, solid 10 points. And you can see the relief from Chang.
She's a lot different than a lot of the Korean archers. She shows a lot more emotion. And she's having really good spirit out there on the line. Wei Nayeon is keeping the hammer down, though. So right here, Chang Haijin can guarantee this match continues with a 10. And that's really the easiest way to make sure things go your way is to bring a big offense.
Great shooting.
So you're going to see Wei Nayeon at full draw. Right above her bow hand, there's a blue piece that clicked in. And we are at a tie there. That puts us at 5-3 total. So when I mentioned that clicker, these recurve archers, that's basically an indicator of when they achieve full draw. So as they draw the bow, when the arrow clears the clicker, it moves in, gives them an audible click, and that's when they know to release. If they were to pull further or not as far, they'd see a lot of vertical and horizontal spread on those shots. So if you're wondering what that little device is, that's called a clicker for a recurve.
And you can see it go off, and as soon as it goes off, that's the indication that the archer sends the arrow down range. Just joining us, we are here at the Indoor Archery World Series Finals. Archers are shooting 18 meters or just shy of 20 yards, downrange at a 40-centimeter target face. Chang Haijin has 3 points to Wei Nayeon's 5. Chang needs to win this to tie it up, and if she does, we're going to a one-arrow shoot-off closest to the center, and that's no way to start it off.
No, not with the way Wei Nayeon is shot. Wei Nayeon opened this match with a 9. Since then has ran off 11 straight 10s, make that 12. She's really putting the pressure on her Korean national teammate.
32-year-old Chang Haijin.
10.
She's hanging a little low, a little left. Might need to make that adjustment on her sight, but I don't see her reaching for anything. She's showing how she feels about the situation right now. That's the first one, so here we go. But it's very important to note.
She's laughing because, again, they're not used to shooting in front of a crowd that's this feisty.
Very important to note, though. Chang has to win this end. A tie isn't enough, so we needs a 10 to win right here. You see it on the scoreboard.
And she does it! And a gold medal for Wei Nayeon. What a way to fight off the advances of Chang Haijin. Incredible. Unbelievable, Steve. And in front of a crowd, it even broke her process, and you can see that she's kind of enjoying the crowd. As now we go down to the judges just to double check to make sure that this score is legit. And we all know, we've been here before, Steve, as we take a look, the confirmation coming in. And the thing I like, I've watched plenty of recurve archers, especially on the Korean team. You mentioned there's not often a lot of emotion, but I think the crowd injects a bunch of energy, and these two Korean archers enjoying their experience. And it's official now. It's Wei Nayeon from Korea who will take the gold medal. Chang Haijin the silver as our first match of the Indoor Archery World Series Finals. The recurve women's gold medal match done and dusted. Congratulations to Wei Nayeon.
A great performance from both. Thank you for the master class, ladies. We're just getting started here in Vegas because we're about to have ourselves another amazing match moments from now.
Crowd on hand. You can see some of the delegates from World Archery looking on, made the trip over from Europe, from Switzerland.
There's my boss man, Greg Easton, there. Thankfully, lets me come and do this a little bit, too.
Replay of some of the great shots in this match.
You can see the face on Chang. She's having a good time.
She's having a good time. It's very rare that these archers get to shoot this competition once a year. This is the largest archery tournament in the world here in Las Vegas. for the Vegas shoot as we insert this Indoor Archery World Series Finals here at South Point Hotel and Casino, and a sigh of relief when that 10 hit. Let's take a look at the final rankings to see how it all played out. So here they are, Steve, and you can see the way that they ended up qualifying in Recurve Women. And I'm going to tell you something. If this is what we're in for, this treat, the first match of the night, absolutely spectacular. As Wei Neyon at the top, you can see Shanghai Jin and Lena Richter from Germany, the final spot on the podium. The Vegas Shoot 2020, Steve Anderson, is a spectacular event. There are over 3,800 competitors that arrived here in Las Vegas to shoot. We're watching the Indoor Archery World Series Finals, Steve, but there is shooting for everyone of all ages.
Yep, old and young, men, women, literally anybody can come out and play this game, and they've got a great system set up to where anybody can be competitive. Well.
Anyone,
Yep.
From a wheelchair. I shot with a blind archer earlier on in competition. You know, it is definitely a very adaptable sport, and this is where you need to be, as we have renewed for 3 years here at the South Point Hotel and Casino for the Vegas Shoot for 2021 through 2023.
I might book my hotel now. It's good to know we're coming back. This is a great place. They host well.
Definitely. Well, we have more matches on deck, including a spectacular one that's going to be a crowd favorite.
Yeah.
It's time for the gold medal final in recurve men here at the Indoor Archery World Series Finals at the South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. 18 meters the distance to shoot. I'm Greg White sitting alongside Steve Anderson. And as coaches and judge come out, Steve, we have a heavy hitter, a crowd favorite. Wears the stars and stripes. Brady Ellison is on deck for this one, and it promises us an absolutely spectacular match. You can see the finals. Florian Kalund will be shooting off against Brady Ellison. And it's time to send these athletes. And I'm going to tell you, Steve, it's going to be fun to hear the crowd once this name is introduced.
Yeah, Brady's the guy here. Gunsmoke.
Oh, man. Brady Ellison, a legend, an Olympian, a medalist, coming off of arguably one of the best recurve seasons we have seen in the history of the sport, and for sure, 2019.
There's no argument. Brady with the world championship, world record. He won, I don't know how many World Cups. His 7th World Cup final outdoors last year.
Yeah.
We start to lose count. He's undoubtedly, it was the best season ever, and if you want to argue who's the GOAT in recurve archery, you sure can, but I'm giving it to Brady.
So Brady Ellison, left part of your screen, from the United States. Florian Kalund, 26 years old. But Brady, I'll tell you what, anytime he walks around this arena with 4,000 or 5,000 people, because you got to figure there's over 3,800 archers here, but plus there's family members and their friends that come to watch. So there are thousands and thousands of people here, and every time he walks around, he gets a crowd around him, including his own brand. You can see on his hat his own brand of archery things that he makes.
Yes. Yeah,
So
Brady,
Steve,
most popular archer in the world.
no doubt. All right. So you're Brady Ellison. You've been here before. You've been on this stage. but you're Florian Kalun from Germany, and you know you're in the United States and you're shooting off against a crowd favorite. What do you think is going through the 26-year-old German's mind at this point?
If he's handling this the right way, he should be thinking he's playing on house money. We are in Vegas, and he's got nothing to lose because Brady's the one who's expected to win, right? The expectations fall on Brady. There's really more pressure on him. So Florian to make it this far is a great accomplishment. And he's going to have a good shot here. Anyone who gets this far, they're shooting well. There's another arrow low left. As you notice, Brady started low left, much like Shanghai Jin was low left. So he's going to make the side adjustment, I think. See where Florian's first arrow lands. Nearly dead center. Good start for him.
All right, Steve. Recurve men competition, set scoring system. Remind us again about that.
So yeah, we're going to shoot ends of 3. So each archer will shoot 3 arrows. Whoever has the highest score is going to take 2 set points. If they tie, they split it. They get 1 point apiece. First archer to 6 points gets the win. If they end up tied at 5, we go to a 1 arrow, closest to the center of the target shoot off, which we all love to see. But yeah, this is a little different than you might see in other types of shooting events. And there's one just to the right for Brady. So now this opens the door for Florian. He knows it because he heard the ooh from the crowd. He heard the 10-9 liner get called.
10-9 liner.
That's a 10, I think.
Yeah, that looked like a 10. So remind us about scoring rings,
Right.
how they score.
So that ring you just saw, right? That's our 4-centimeter ring, about the size of a silver dollar. All the arrow has to do is touch it. It doesn't have to get inside it, just has to touch it from the outside. And what we saw there, Brady's looked certainly out. Florian's, we didn't have quite the angle, but it looked like it's probably going to be in. So right now we're showing on the screen that we're at 1-1 with set points. Don't be surprised to see that updated by the judge, who's down there calling the arrows with a microscope if necessary, or a magnifying glass.
Yep.
Someday we'll have microscopes out there. But don't be surprised to see that score go to 2-0. And there it is. They just updated Florian down on the scoreboard here. So Florian off to the early lead with 2 set points, and Brady's got to get out of the hole.
You could see Florian's last shot that we just showed you in replay was that 10 that caught the line. He didn't like the way that shot broke. That's part of what we talk about in archery.
Right.
He released that shot broke, but he was able to catch it. And so now, unexpectedly, we have something that we didn't think we were going to see, but we knew that Florian was perfectly capable of it. American fan favorite Brady Ellison now down 2 set points to 0.
Yeah, Brady isn't sweating this. He's told me I don't really worry about it too much until I'm down 4-0. So,
Is that right?
Yeah. And good 10 to the left there.
So there is a Jumbotron that's above the archer's head. And you can see that when Brady shoots, he's looking up at the Jumbotron to see where it hit.
Yep.
You can see off to the left, his wife, Toya Ellison, is in the coach's box. So if he needs something from her, oh, he's really holding left, though. Don't you think at this point you might be grabbing a click or two?
Yeah, there he is with it right there. He just made the adjustment. So Florian, see what he can do here. You know, he came out, shot the 3-10s, got a little bit of shake and long hold going here.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell, you know, with as the shot starts to break down, you start holding too long. They're hoping for the best, but wasn't meant to be on that one. So Brady's got a chance to take the set right here with the 10. The 9. Man, not a great one either. So now he's hoping that Florian shoots a 9. Florian with a 10 here would tie the set. There it is. We're going 3-1 now.
So it's 3-1 as we wait confirmation on that. So, you know, the thing that's interesting, Steve, is that we mentioned before, we are watching the gold medal match for the Indoor Archery World Series Finals, but the points scored to get here happened yesterday and today here in Las Vegas, and Brady Ellison, from what I understand, hasn't missed a 10 yet.
Oh, it's been incredible what he's done. Yeah, so here in Vegas, Brady's shot 60 arrows, he's got 60 10s. Under a lot of pressure, he is 10 points ahead of his nearest competitor, right? He is putting on a clinic, done something we've never seen in the sport. Continuing that success from 2019, you know. And Brady's been shooting good all year. He shot really well in Nîmes, France, at the previous stage of the Indoor World Series. Took the win there over American teammate Jack Williams. And he started, he's continued that success here in Vegas. And now he's facing his first real test. Shot a couple nines, and he's got to dig out a hole against Florian. There he is again, left side. He's been in that hole one time.
Doesn't look too happy, does Brady Ellison, but he needs a perfect 30. He's going to put any pressure on Florian Kalund from Germany.
10.
Boy, that last moment, Steve, I just saw Florian with just a bit of a shake, and I thought maybe it was too much. But
it was almost, like he was changing the angle of his bow.
10.
You could see, trying to keep it perfectly level. So Brady, again, hanging the left side. And he looks like he's frustrated trying to figure out why that is, because then if he makes an adjustment, he's been missing out the right.
10.
Florian, great arrows. So right here, Florian can push it to 5-1. It'd be 4-2 if they end up tying on the set. If Brady gets this one, he puts it in the 10, he's guaranteed at least a tie.
And he got it. So he needed a 30, he got a 30.
Pressure's on Florian now. He knows he's got to have a 10 to tie the set.
He shoots a 9, it's going to be 3-3.
Oh,
wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
It's a 4-2.
Didn't look like he felt good about it.
Brady Ellison will be shooting first.
How often do you,
Gentlemen, good
Steve,
shot perfectly
we're looking
for
at
his third set.
an Easton X10 arrow, a micro diameter arrow, and he just put it in the exact same hole as before.
Right.
How does that micro arrow, as we say in archery, really measure? Like, how would you describe it to someone who's never seen it in person?
They are less than 1/4 of an inch. So imagine a pencil, cut it in half. Reduce the diameter by half, and that's about what you've got. They're about 0.200 thousandths of 200 thousandths of an inch thick, so 0.200. Florian, same hole right there, and you kind of see. Don't know if he felt great about the shot, but worked out for him in the end.
It's match set for Florian Kalund of Germany. Brady Ellison.
That was big for him too. It's very tough to close out a match. If you're Florian right now, this is the hardest part. It's easy to come out and try to swing your biggest swing against a guy like Brady Ellison, but now you've got him on the ropes and you're trying to close him out. That's tough. This is where we're going to see things get real interesting.
There it is.
Brady gets stronger usually as the match goes on.
And this is where he shines under that kind of pressure. Trying to even this match
10
up.
points.
Florian's shots smooth, timed well, right? He's got good rhythm going right now.
He just hasn't flinched.
Nope. Shot 1-9 at the time.
Thank you.
There's
Can we
good
have
one for
another?
Brady. He is just loving the low left spot right there. He's getting some instruction from wife Toya to move that. This one's looking interesting right now.
Still nailed it.
Yeah, you could see just a tiny bit of shake.
Little smile on his face as the crowd erupts in applause.
Brady looking for perfect 30 here. He got it. So Florian, he's a 10 to tie. We're right back in the same situation we were the last end. There it is. He gave it up.
Yeah. What was interesting, Steve, is that it looked like that Florian had a bit of upper body movement.
Yep.
And that can do it.
It doesn't take a whole lot, right? These guys, you're talking 1 degree change in point of aim is astronomical in where that arrow ends up, point of impact on the target. So they're looking at, half a degree of point of aim or less to try to shoot that 10 ring.
Archer standing 18 meters downrange from that target face. Just about 20 yards is the distance to the target. And Brady Ellison has tied things up. We are even. And as Steve Anderson mentioned earlier here in set point scoring system, it's going to be the 1st to 6 now. If these archers tie, we're going to go to 5 points apiece. And then, Steve, the fireworks.
Right, and we have a 1 arrow shoot off closest to center, but we got to get it there first. I'm really impressed the way Florian's shooting. Like I said, it's hard to close out a match, but now he's back on even ground. So he's no longer. Ooh, the door is open. So the beauty of archery, right, is you can't play defense, but you can bring all the offense, and they can't play defense against you. So there's a 10 for Florian. 2 more of those, and he wins, no matter what Brady does.
He's just got to shoot a 10 to stay alive here.
Yeah, Brady has to have him now. 9. that's probably going to do it for Florian. Florian knows he's up 2, right?
Yeah.
That takes a lot of the pressure off, so he can shoot a 9. Doesn't kill him.
And he does.
He does. So now we're in a situation Brady absolutely has to have a 10. Without a 10 here, he's got to hope for a big miss from Florian, something out in the 8 ring, which is a red ring. Good job.
Got that one. All right, so a 10 to win for Florian Kalun for the
9
gold
to
medal.
tie.
9 to tie.
This
Gold
is
medal.
tough. Let's see what we can. I'm seeing a little shake in his release hand.
He got it! Unbelievable! The Dragon Slayer, Florian Kalun from Germany, takes down Brady Ellison in a 6-4 set point win and the gold medal. The Indoor Archery World Series Finals here in Las Vegas. And Steve, we knew he was going to shake. You have to have nerves in this arena in front of all these people. But this archer managed those nerves the best.
Yeah. If you trust the process, you train every day for moments like this, and if you can just trust what you've done, trust your shot, you can shoot through those shakes, and things generally work out. There's a lot of subconscious involved, and Florian, has trained over and over. He's been on the scene for a long time as well, since he was probably still a junior, and he has figured it out. And like you said, the Dragon Slayer today.
26-year-old Florian Kalun comes to the United States, to Las Vegas, and is able to stand on top of the podium later on tonight and look over his shoulder at Brady Ellison. So let's take a look at the final rankings for our Indoor Archery World Series Finals. You can see at the top of the pile, Florian Kalun over Brady Ellison and Cedric Reiger from Germany. So Germany, 2 archers on the podium here. Outstanding job by all these archers. Still more coming at you as we're going to switch the bows around to get the compound. Welcome back to Live Pictures. South Point Hotel and Casino, as we're already halfway through our program of the Indoor Archery World Series Finals, a culmination of 6 total events around the world that started in the People's Republic of China. We were in Luxembourg, Rome, Italy, Sydney, Australia, Nîmes, France, which is a huge tournament that just happened January 17th through the 19th, and of course this final stop. It's Saturday, the 8th of February, as we wrap things up tonight. There's still more archery February 9th here at the Vegas Shoot as we take a look at some industry heavy hitters that are here to watch this. This is where the entire industry comes to watch the culmination of all of their work. And our next couple of matches are going to be exciting. Indoor World Series 2020 Finals. Gold to be decided for the compound women. I'm Greg White, joined by Steve Anderson. And the field of play is set 18 meters from shooting line to target on a 40-centimeter target face. And if you've seen Recurve Archery do this before in compound, we are going to reduce the 10 ring in half. It's going to go to 2 centimeters. And Steve Anderson, here's the bracket on how we got to our finals match in our single elimination rounds. Those 150 points total. And you can see as we come to our competitors here, and this is a tale of Veteran versus rookie. And here is one of our veteran competitors who, by the way, United States veteran. She's only 24 years old, but her resume is long and distinguished. Paige Pierce comes out in that Bowtech jersey. And next to her from Estonia, Liesel Jatma, 20 years old, and now in the adult category in her first season. And Liesel Jatma from Estonia has burst onto the scene. She won Nîmes just a couple of weeks ago and now shoots her way right into the gold medal final here at the Indoor Archery World Series Finals. Steve, I know you were in Nîmes. You got to see these shooters shoot. What are you thinking?
Shooting for the gold medal on target, number 1, representing the United States of America, Paige Pierce.
Yeah, it's good to see Liesel out here. She's, like you said, she's a younger archer just coming onto the scene, but did so with a bang in Nîmes, France, getting the win there. That was her first major final stage, so she's quickly put herself on a second one. We'll see how she can react to that. Paige, like you said, has been around the archery block a time or two, and she is, second place last year at Outdoor World Championships. Stood on a couple of final podiums already over this Indoor World Series, and she's going to be tough to beat. She's shot really well so far this weekend, and I think she's confident, and that's always a great combination.
One of our top shooters in the United States, her boyfriend Tate Morgan in the coach's box, as United States squares off against Estonia. This is compound archery. Steve, let's explain some scoring.
So, as you saw there, Paige opened up with a 10 on that small 2-centimeter 10 ring. And like the Recurve archers, she was low and left. We've seen that out of virtually everyone in lane 1. She quickly made an adjustment. So let's see what she gets here. There's one more in the middle. So with the compound match, we're not doing the set system anymore. We're going to a cumulative scoring system. They're going to shoot a 15-arrow match, 3 arrows at a time, and winner takes all, right? It's pretty easy. There's no set system, and you're not jiving for points here and there. Everything matters. They all matter equally, and literally you're hanging on every arrow. So Paige off to a great start with a 30. Liesel's got a 9 and a 9-star down on our scoreboard here on the floor, meaning it could be a 10. She really needs to get this one in to keep it close, and that's another 9. I think you're seeing some nerves out of there. It's a tough ask for a 20-year-old on her second ever final stage to come out on this stage and deal with this crowd against an American favorite.
And that's it. You do see crowds like this at a couple of different indoor events, don't you, Steve?
You see crowds, nothing of this size. This is a...
Kings of Archery comes to mind.
Right, yeah.
Nîmes has a decent crowd occasionally, but this crowd is a rowdy one, and there are thousands of people lining these stands. But, Steve, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is going to be the order in which they shoot. What we saw was Paige kind of doing what a lot of people do, which is, a top to bottom or even a bottom up type thing. But Liesel, she shoots bottom first, then top, then middle.
Yeah.
Any particular insight as to why she might do it that way?
No, I couldn't explain that. Sometimes you'll see a shooter go bottom to top, and that's just because in certain venues with certain lighting, you shoot an arrow in the top target, it'll cast a shadow down into the middle target, right? So they'll shoot bottom to top to keep shadows out of the next target that they're about to shoot. But her order here is unconventional. Does it matter? I'm not sure. Ultimately they're trying to do the same thing on every target, aim in the center and execute a good shot. Now, much different from the Recurve, right? Compound is using a magnified sight, so they do have, a little bit of a zoomed in view of the target, and then they have what's called a peep sight that they look through, which is effectively a rear sight, which helps them get a little bit better aim, a little more consistency than what the Recurvers are working with. And then the bow itself is much different, right? It uses a pulley system, gives them a mechanical advantage. Whereas the recurvers are, recurve women typically pulling around 42 pounds. These compound women are pulling around 55. But when they hit full draw, they only have to hold about 18, 19 pounds. So it's a much different game, much different equipment. You see the stabilizers hanging off the bow, those long rods. Those are there to help aid in stabilization. It's exactly what it is. So it helps them aim. If you're wondering, hey, that stuff looks pretty weird. This isn't like, stick bows I see here and there. Yeah, it's a much different game. But this is compound archery, and we're hoping to see this on bigger stages in the future as well.
And this is what this game is all about, being able to find your rhythm and find that small 10 ring on center stage here in Las Vegas. It's the Indoor World Series. We're going to have 5 ends of competition, and what we mean by that is every time archers shoot 3 arrows, in archery we call that an end. So it's 3 ends, 5 times. The maximum point value you can get is 150 points. Now, you can see bottom left part of your screen, it's 58 to 56 at the moment, but there's judges down checking scores, and sometimes we get an updated score on how that's going to play out. If at the end of 5 ends, if we're tied, like you're talking about cumulative scoring, Steve, then we get to go to a 1-arrow shoot-off closest to the center, and that is exciting.
I'd love to see one today, too. Right off the bat, though, Paige is off to an early lead. Now, Paige has a couple of close arrows that they're going to update here. And they are saying it stands at 10.99. So we're at 58-56. Pierce over Jatma. And Lizelle's going to lead us off here in the 3rd end.
And why is that, Steve?
So the trailing archer is always going to lead. That allows them to ideally shoot some 10s, put the pressure on the archer who's in the lead. And that's really all you can do in archery. There's no defense. All you can do is put up your best score and see if it can rattle the competitor. And for Lizelle, she's absolutely got to put some 10s in here because a 2-point lead is fairly sizable in this game. We saw Paige's matches coming into this. There was a number of them. She finished with a 148. So the final stage has got her, a little bit rattled. She dropped a couple points she probably otherwise wouldn't elsewhere. But we saw the same out of Lizelle, and Paige's rolling with a healthy lead. Good 10s by both of them there.
California native Paige Pierce, 24 years old, solidifying herself as the future of the sport, but already a veteran.
Yeah.
And she is putting up some solid numbers at the moment.
Yeah, Lizelle, you can still see some big 9s there, Looks like she's struggling to get comfortable on the big stage, and that's totally understandable. Paige has got the rhythm now.
She certainly does. Now, Steve, these 2 archers using a release aid in their right hand, you can see next to their chin, but they use 2 completely different release aids, don't they?
Right, so one of them's using a thumb button, the other one's using a hinge release. Here you see Paige wrap her thumb around that button, and now she's going to pull through it. A lot of people think, oh, they push the button to make it go, but when you try to do that, that leads to a lot of sticky situations we won't get into too deep. Basically, you're going to continue to pull against the bow, add pressure, and eventually it trips that trigger on its own and releases it, and bye-bye goes the arrow. And Lizelle I believe she was shooting a hinge release, and that operates off rotation. So there's no trigger, but as the hinge, so you'd hold the hinge to one side, hold the release to one side, and then as it rotates away, there's what we call a hook and a moon. And as the hook clears the moon, it opens up and fires.
And here's a look at Paige as she uses her release. And you can see the confidence in her face when she hit that one. Lizelle is going to rotate through that hinge release and get that shot off. I think after the big Nîmes win for Lizelle, you would think she would come here and be comfortable on this center stage, but it's a whole different ball game here in Las Vegas. So we have 3 ends of arrows already shot. So 9 arrows. We have 6 more to go. Confirmation that it's 88 to 84, and they're changing target faces. Steve, why?
So if they can't score an arrow, if there's a scoring line that's clearly damaged to the point where another arrow near or around that line wouldn't be judgeable, then they'll put up a new target face. And it looks like they did it for both archers, which is fair. So, yeah, you'll typically see that in a compound match just because the scoring ring is small and the arrows are large. You know, they're both shooting max diameter 23 size arrow, 23/64 of an inch. And again, to score a 10, all you got to do is touch that line. Lizelle, she's been hanging just a little low and then has a little bit of lefts and rights going. I'm thinking she's just struggling to settle things down and get a good solid aim. Paige looks like it's just out.
Just out means, when we're talking about archery, it's a 9 score, not a 10 score. So oftentimes we just focus on that middle. And so when we say just out, that's what we're looking at.
Just out of the 10 ring, yeah. That's easy for me to get into archery speak here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There's plenty of other terms we could go into that would make absolutely no sense to anybody, but try to say there again, a liner, as we might say, or a jar licker, one that's also very close but doesn't appear to be in.
See, what Paige is doing for Lizelle, though, she gave her a couple of opportunities to get some points back.
Right.
And Lizelle Yatma from Estonia not able to capitalize.
No.
So it doesn't look like a lot of damage done for Paige Pierce in this one, this particular end. And that's another point that she'll get back.
Yep.
So it looks like Lizelle Yatma has been scoring 28 out of a possible 30, another 28, 28, and 27, where Paige has been floating around the 30 and 28 range, and that's why you're seeing the difference in score.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of frustration coming out on her. She's expressing to Tate there that frustration, but she's done enough to get a 5-point lead. Now, when we're talking compound archery, 3 arrows to go, that's almost a guarantee, right? Now, stranger things have happened, but a big mistake by Paige is going to be a 9. You're not going to see much in the red from archers like this occasionally, but don't expect it. There's got to be a lot of pressure involved, and then a number of things have to go wrong at the same time. So Paige, a 5-point lead, right? She's going to be able to relax, shoot these last 3 arrows virtually carefree. All she needs to do is hit the yellow, which in theory is extremely easy for an archer of her ability.
Yeah, we call that protecting the gold in this one. Final end of competition, final 3 arrows to be shot to decide who's going to win the gold medal here at the Indoor Archery World Series Finals. Coming at you from South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. As we get ready for these final 3 arrows, I'm Greg White with Steve Anderson, who's been on this stage before here in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, unexpectedly actually shooting for gold.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I woke up from a nap and got told, hey, you've made the final. So I didn't know that. I was in my bed sick and had to borrow some equipment. Actually, didn't bring the right stuff. So,
but made his way all the way to center stage where Lizelle Yatma just launched a 10.
Yeah, it's a good arrow from Lizelle. Good to see that.
Answer from Paige Pierce.
You want to see Lizelle get comfortable on the stage because this, for her, is development in her young career. So anytime you can find yourself in this arena shooting for a championship, that's good. That's going to help you the next time you're here.
Yeah, even though some may look at it and say too little, too late, it's always a building process in archery.
Yep.
Experience makes a difference. And Paige Pierce now trying to close this match out with a perfect score 30. And Lizelle Yatma, all she can do is really just go for that 10 ring, and she gets it. So finally, she gets that 30 that she was looking for, but unfortunately, it's in the 5th of 5 ends. Paige Pierce, a 6 to win.
I mean, she just has to score. 6 ring, minimum ring on the target here today. So she just got to there's 10.
Bingo, bango. Paige Pierce with a 10 and a 146 to 141 win. And the trips around the world, literally Paige Pierce took a trip around the world. It started for her over a month ago in Iowa. Then they went straight from Iowa to Australia, then Australia to Nîmes, and then Nîmes back to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, then back to California, then to here. So Paige Pierce will take gold and is the Indoor Archery World Series Final champion in this one, and she'll celebrate on top of the podium. Outstanding shooting from Paige. A 146, Steve, is a very solid score under the pressure and the spotlights here in Las Vegas.
Yep. If you can put that down in the finals match, you're doing okay.
And the question for the future, could we see more from Lizelle Yatma and Paige Pierce as the years roll on? Something tells me it's going to happen, and it's going to happen often. So looking at the shot, Steve, your assessment of Lizelle Yatma's performance at this point?
Just, lacking in experience on a major final stage. And I'll say, no matter how much experience you have on a final stage like this, it's still hard. So, I've been on it once or maybe a couple times, and, I had a few instances where I didn't put up the performance I want, and that's okay. There's a tournament next weekend.
Final rankings, Paige Pierce, number 1. Estonia's Lizelle Yatma at 20 years old in second, and veteran Sarah Priels rounding out your top 3. They will get to stand on the podium as a talented field of women's archers wrap things up here in Las Vegas. But we still have so much more to come. Indoor World Series Finals in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we are getting ready to set the stage for our final match of the evening. And you want to talk about heavy hitters. They don't get much bigger than this in any sport. They're coming up. It's time for the Indoor Archery World Series Finals gold medal match for compound men. As we are in Las Vegas, Nevada, celebrating an outstanding season of archery across the world. As it all comes to a conclusion here, shooting for gold and silver. Let's take a look at the brackets. I'm Greg White, sitting next to Steve Anderson, professional shooter who's been on this stage plenty of times in his young career, and who got to this point and how they shot. It was so exciting in the elimination rounds, and it comes down to these two, Mike Schlusser from the Netherlands and Stefan Hansen from Denmark. And Steve Anderson, when you look at these two archers and you look at what they have accomplished over the years, Mike Schlusser, 26 years old, they call him Mr. Perfect, and Stefan Hansen, 24 years old. What can be said about these? I mean, what are some of the highlights? You've seen these archers shoot because you've shot against them for years.
Right, yeah, so Mike, 2013 world champion, that was now 7 years ago, right?
Amazing.
And then Stefan, 2015 world champion. Mike, Vegas champion twice, or are we at 3 times now? I forget.
Yeah.
Stefan has always been competitive on circuit, Nîmes champion, Indoor Archery World Cup finalist multiple times, and he's an excellent all-around archer. More than just indoor, he's great outdoor, 3D field archery. Both of these guys, they're of the young crop of guys coming up, they're the best of all the archers in the world right now. They're probably the best. They got long careers ahead of them.
And this year in archery was a banner on the compound side of things, Steve, because when you look across at all the bow manufacturers, the major bow manufacturers, 2020 launched some outstanding bows, and including these two archers, one shooting a Hoyt, one shooting a PSE. And, they have these shooter shirts that they're wearing, and they have names on them. And on Stefan Hansen, of course, it says Stefan Hansen. On Mike Schlusser's shirt, it simply says Mr. Perfect.
Right. So Mike was the first to shoot a perfect World Archery indoor round, 600 out of 600 points, meaning he shot 60 out of 60 into this 10 ring that we're about to see. And then start this year off with that new bow of his in Macau. Did it again. And Stefan, one of the only other guys to ever do it as well.
Now, Steve, we've been here now. This is our 4th match in lane number 1, and everyone is hit low and to the left.
Right, each and every archer. Stefan just a hair low, but it's been different from lane 1 to lane 2 from what I can see.
Compound archery, Steve. Cumulative scoring. Tell us what we're facing.
Each of these guys is going to shoot 15 arrows. Whoever's got the highest score at the end of this wins. If we go to a tie, then we'll have a 1 arrow closest to center shoot off. They're going to shoot ends of 3 arrows at a time. Perfect arrows from both of them right there. Like I said, these guys, 2 of the best young archers in the game. Occasionally things get a little hairy for them when the pressure ramps up, but that's true of every archer. And we're hoping to see a great match between the 2 of them. Perfect start for Mike with 30 points. Stefan matches it.
Now, Steve, there's 150 points available total. 3 arrows, 5 ends, 15 arrows, max score 10 per arrow. How difficult is it in this spotlight, knowing that there's a gold medal on the line for Indoor Archery World Series Finals, to shoot a perfect 150?
How easy is it for me or for these guys? Because that's different.
Yeah.
For me, it's probably not going to happen. For everybody, it's really extremely hard. There's been one time I've shot a perfect 150 in a medal match, and that seems like ages ago, but you don't see it too often, right? You're going to see the pressure ramp up, especially at the end. This might be a scenario of whoever blinks first, and looking at these guys' scores through the matches, right? I think Stefan only missed 1 the whole time,
Yeah.
And then you go back to his Vegas round from this morning. He didn't miss a single X, so he said he's essentially shot 74 out of 75 shots in the 10 ring that we're looking at here so far today.
And that 10 ring, of course, is 18 meters or 20 yards, just about downrange. And the 10 ring Steve is talking about is 2 centimeters across, which is about the size of a U.S. penny. And so they are shooting at that 20 yards downrange, and these 2 top world archers are center punching it.
Right, yeah, they're both on their game right now. And, a lot of sports, you get nervous in a big match or a big game or a big moment of that. And you get to go exert that energy, running or jumping or whatever that sport might offer. But in archery, when you get that large surge of adrenaline, you have to maintain focus and stay still, and that can be extremely hard. So these guys are really showing it right now.
And Steve and I just looked at each other, and the way that Mike Schlusser is shooting is incredible. Both of them.
That one looks like the first one out. We'll see. They're calling it a 9-star, so that's a 9 maybe in archery speak.
Our second end of scoring for 5, and Mike Schlusser with a perfect 30.
So not only do these guys usually shoot 10s, but they usually shoot centered 10s, not just catching the line. They're shooting the middle of that thing, like that.
You can see some movement in Hansen's arm, and that's part of those nerves. So Stefan's going to take a nice deep breath. Hansen, of course, into the cardio side of things. He runs 5 kilometers, likes to run 5Ks as often as he can. Of course, the life, Steve, as you know, of an archer at this level, they're no stranger to the United States or any other place in the world, are they?
No, they've been around. They burn up the sky miles, and a hotel bed is probably more frequent to them than home. So, yeah, good on Stefan for getting out and staying in shape and adding to his archery game through fitness.
There are a variety of different types of games in archery. This is indoor. This is, in the United States, a 20-yard game at a target, as now we're hearing scores that are coming in. It looks like, Steve, a confirmation that Hansen did shoot a 9.
Right.
So now all of a sudden Schlusser's going to take a 1-point advantage with 3 ends of scoring, so 9 arrows remaining, 90 points total.
A lot of archery left.
And a lot of opportunity to make a mistake.
Yes, and it's very hard to close a match, as we said earlier. Now, we've seen some fireworks from both of these guys when trying to close matches, so for Stefan, it's going to be a matter of keeping the pressure on. You give points back here, and it's going to let Mike relax.
Big deep breath from Hansen as he lines up for his first shot in N3.
Yes.
Good steady shot. Look at that, right in the middle.
Absolutely buried it, nearly to the veins.
Yeah, he's hit that hole enough that it's starting to wear that target out. Nice, another one.
All you have to do is just hit that outside line to get the higher value point. And that 10 ring, as I mentioned before, only 2 centimeters across. But Steve, in all fairness to Stefan Hansen, he has definitely had an up and down indoor season. Some incredible scores at across the pond where he shot 89 of 90 X's one time, but then he's had some matches, as we saw a couple weeks ago in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where the wheels have completely fallen off. But he just seems really dialed in right now.
Ooh, big bobble, but he got it.
He got it.
And this, that's huge because Mike's last arrow was, they're calling a 9-star. Again, it's close. They're going to have a judge good on it. That one's no question. But we could see a tie score right here. We're showing 89-89 on the scoreboard. They're going to go verify Mike's arrows, and we'll update you as we know. But yeah, Stefan's, faced a few struggles, and everyone does. It's usually a mental block, some sort of technique issue. And he thinks he's got some stuff figured out. Today, he certainly had it all figured out. There's some volatility in an archer's game from one day to the next, but we're shooting today, and today he's got it figured out.
Today he's got it figured out, and that's what matters here at the Indoor Archery World Series Finals in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our final match of the evening to decide gold in this competition as 26-year-old Mike Schlusser, who you're looking at right there, against 24-year-old Stefan Hansen. Now, Mike currently ranks 2nd in the world archery rankings, and Hansen 13th.
And they did give Mike that arrow, so they said it was a 10. He was going to stay at 90 points, move to 90 points rather, and keep a 1-point advantage over Stefan.
So instead of a tie, as you can see, Hansen staring down that 18 meters. They're replacing targets currently. You can see the crew working on that to put up a fresh target face. Why?
Well, we saw Stefan's first arrow very deep, and I think it probably ruined that target face. So they may have shifted the bail just a little bit, and in doing so, they needed to put up a new target. So both of them shooting at a fresh face.
You can see the clock counting down for Hansen. That's his indication. He's got that 10 seconds to get up on the line, and then he has 20 seconds to execute his shot. Bottom left-hand part of your screen is the clock. If for some reason he didn't get that shot off in time, it would be scored as a 0.
Yeah, these guys are pretty darn fast. There's another one very deep for Stefan, so that target's having a tough day holding arrows for guys that continue to just smash the middle.
Mike Schlusser with another 10. So far, Mr. Perfect in this round. I hope I just didn't give him the old commentator's curse. But Hansen has only had one misstep so far, and that 1 point is all it takes. He'll catch the 10 line. He'll get that higher value.
Another good shot.
Good steady hold and nice smooth release for Mike.
Yeah, Mike's looking really good right now. 4 arrows to go for these guys.
Come on.
Oh, that's a big one right there.
Oh, man. It just
shows some sadness.
deflated. Absolutely deflated. Mike's got to keep his focus, and this could be one of those big shots.
Yeah.
Almost a guarantee shot. Nothing is guaranteed as we have one more end of scoring, but so far, Mr. Perfect is perfect in this gold medal Indoor Archery World Series Finals match. Now, Steve, here's the interesting thing, and I've talked to Mike Schlusser about this. You've talked to Mike Schlusser about this. As we watch Mike, he uses a thumb button on his release, right? But when we get into these last arrows, especially the last arrow, not everything has gone smooth for Mike Schlusser, has it?
he occasionally has some moments of anxiousness or anticipation or whatever you want to call it, but we've seen both sides of the coin from him. We've seen where it can come off the rails and he gives up points, and we've seen where he just continues to pound middle. Last time we saw Mike was only about 2 weeks ago at Lancaster Archery Classic, and he had absolutely no issues closing a big match. So, you know, for Mike, we hope to see that continue. Obviously, Stefan's hoping he gets some points back here, and 3 arrows to go, closing out the Indoor World Series Final. You know, even the best shooter making what he feels is great shots can miss that tiny little 10 ring. So, number one, Stefan's got to keep the pressure on. If he comes out and shoots a 9, Mike's going to have very little concern. But if Stefan could come out and shoot a couple 10s and then add a third, then you could see things get interesting. But
yeah,
I wouldn't want to go into the final end against Mike trailing by 2, you know?
Not by 2. By 1 to keep it that close, there's always a chance. At least people feel like they have a chance.
Right.
So a lot on the line for Mr. Perfect Mike Schlusser, leading 2 points over Stefan Hansen in our final 3 arrows of competition to decide the winner of the gold medal.
Good 10, just caught the top there. Again, all he has to do is touch the line.
You can see he made an adjustment on his sight, so he felt like he needed to go up or down with the way it broke.
2 arrows each.
That one's just in on the bottom of the 10 ring for Mike.
That's what he needs. Hansen has to have a 10 here to keep his hopes alive.
10.
Got it.
So when we watch Mike on his last arrow, watch his thumb as it goes around the barrel. So you can see his thumb on the barrel of the trigger there.
10.
Quick shot there in the 10.
Single arrow remaining in the match.
Stefan needs this one. Gets this one, the only way he's got a chance. 9 low. So now an 8 wins it for Mike. All he needs is the first ring of red to get the win. And he's around the barrel. I think he's going to put in a good one here.
And he does, a 10. So Mike Schlusser, Mr. Perfect, scores a perfect 150 points in the gold medal final, the Indoor Archery World Series Finals here in Las Vegas. There was no doubt about him wanting that gold medal, Steve. Incredible shooting.
Right. Mike, Mr. Perfect is perfect. Is that a surprise to anyone? I don't know, but it's an awesome finish for him. That's 2 tournaments in a row we've seen Mike close the match with absolute style, and looks like he's getting over some of those demons that have haunted him in the past. Awesome World Series season for Mike. He's had some great tournaments along the way, and now to see him finish it as a champion, I'm really happy for him.
Most of the time, a 147 could net you a win in a finals match of the Indoor Archery World Series Final, but it can't do it this time against Mike Schlusser, who comes away shooting 15 perfect 10s. And I'll tell you what, this is dangerous, Steve, because now we've seen Mike Schlusser 2 times in a row under high pressure execute his shots perfectly. What is in store for the rest of the archery world field moving forward as Mike Schlusser just pounds it out here in Vegas?
I don't know. I think we're all going to probably try to copy his setup or something, but I would love to know what it looks like at full draw for him, because I think it would freak me out. But Mike has been the class of archery for the last few years, and it's no surprise to see him shoot big scores. He does it all the time, and here we are with another great finals performance for him.
The industry here watching as this is the largest tournament in the world. It coincides with the Vegas shoot that brought out 3,800 plus shooters. Now, Steve, we saw some outstanding matches as we look at replays. It was women's recurve that kicked us off, and a couple of Korean athletes. They really showed us a lot of personality, didn't they?
Right, yeah, Shanghai Jin there. Didn't get the win, but showed us some
great shooting.
Yeah, a little bit of emotion you typically don't see out of Koreans.
And then it was the Dragon Slayer who took down Brady Ellison as Brady shakes his head. Florian Kalunz, what a match he had in Vegas. And then it was off to Compound, and Paige Pierce, the Californian, at 24 years old, takes down the up-and-coming 20-year-old from Estonia to take gold in a match that she'll look back on in delight, and a great learning experience for Lizelle Yatma. And then, well, Steve, after we were treated to this outstanding cumulative scoring match, where Paige again shows a lot of personality shot to shot, Lizelle, of course, disappointed. And that's the one that did it for Paige Pierce. It was off to these two heavy hitters. So what do you think as we look forward to, we got a couple more indoors that are going to happen here in the States, but really we're just down the street from outdoor season.
Yeah, these guys are going to kick off the outdoor season with World Archery in Guatemala this year. Actually, is the first stop of the World Cup, and then we're going to have a few more.
Thanks for joining us. Indoor Archery World Series Finals from here in Las Vegas.